Gather round. It's time for your Real Estate Chalk Talk with the Hittner Group. Listen closely as your coaches discuss the culture, the economy, and the political scene, and how it affects your home and your real estate investments. Real Estate Chalk Talk is where you learn the science of buying and selling real estate and the art of living in your home. Your education begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey there, welcome to the program. This is your Real Estate Chalk Talk with the Hittner Group. HittnerGroup.com, Hittner Group. That's all one word. HittnerGroup.com, 612-627-8000. Calvin's gone today to meetings. He can't attend, so Keith Areno and I are going to handle the big program. All right, so let's just kind of run through the numbers quick for the week. We are in the, probably 15th week of the year. 6,800 homes on the market in the 7-county metropolitan area. A year ago, there was 57 homes, so we're up about 12%. Not bad. Nice little increase. Homes running through 983, just under 1,000 homes on the market. A year ago, it was 1,006. So the market's just a tick slower, not bad. But days on market for the properties sold down to 28.2 days on market for the properties that have sold.
Moving a little quicker then?
Moving a little quicker. The stuff that's coming on seems to be priced a little bit more accurately. And I think people are just doing a better job of preparing and doing all of that. So the ones that are hanging are the ones that probably came on. We just had one that moved off the market this week that we brought on last fall, which was probably not ideal, time of the year just before the holidays.
Yeah.
I kind of knew we had to do it because it was a estate house, so I mean it's got to get on the market. But
and now it's sold?
And now it's sold.
Nice.
Yeah. So, the snowbirds came back. It was a one-level townhouse and ideal for an empty nester, and now they're back in town. So
yeah, I was sharing that listing with somebody that was looking around, so I was
they're
trying to get them out there.
Yeah, well, we got another one over in Burnsville. You can get them out over there, $300,000, so cheap it's almost free. Nice one level in Burnham Wood, 165 Burnham Wood, $300,000. I can't believe it. Walk out on big beautiful decks, all maintenance free, super duper. Pickleball courts in the association, can't beat that.
Is it traditional one level, or is it one of those deals you got to walk up around the backside?
We got to walk up around the backside, yeah.
And tuck under garage.
Tuck under garage. You still got to carry the groceries up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but if you have them delivered, then you don't have to worry about it. They
Easy.
Bring them right in.
What's that called? What was the delivery service? Is that still around?
Simon's Delivery.
Yeah, Simon's Delivers.
I used to do that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so we digress.
Yes.
What do we got? 12,000 homes have sold so far, or listings taken so far this year. About the same as last year. It's almost exactly the same. 12,309 so far this year through March, and 12,425 through March. Sold listings 6,300 through March and 6,900 through March last year. So again, just a tick slower. Absorption rates running. That's how many homes there are to sell if nothing else came on the market. Couple months, everything be gone. Really a pretty doggone good market. Interest rates seem to be hovering. They actually bumped down a skosh this week, so they're under 6.5. You can pretty much easily get an interest rate under 6.5. Yeah, what a great deal. So curb appeal is all what it's about. We've been talking about that for the last couple of weeks. When you pull up to the house, you got to make sure that you're out there. The weather is beautiful. Get out there and rake the front yard, freshen up the landscape a little bit. I'm still struggling with it. I'm going to pull all the rock out of my landscape. You know how it was. You had the old 3/4 inch red limestone that looked so great when they first put it in, and now it's gotten weeds in it and dirt in it and leaves that have rotted and become soil mixed in with it. And the kids can pick up that rock and throw it through your window.
Is that how the Burnhamwood townhouse looks too? Then
they do.
Or do they do a great job over there?
They do a great job over there. Yeah, they have 48 acres, and they've got their own ground screws that are out there knitting and purling that thing. I mean,
at $300,000, are you getting showings on that property, or what's happening?
We are getting showings. In fact, we've got as we speak, I think there's somebody in there looking at it. But you're right. That walk up behind feature.
Yeah.
A little younger legs.
Yeah.
So it would be, well, I think that the target in that thing is someone in their probably 50s who is still working. It's a great commute area. You got a lot, like I say, you got the tennis courts, you
Silver
got walking
divorce.
trails,
Is that what
silver
they call
divorce,
that
yeah, great
deal?
divorce would be perfect. A little golf course close by. The Burnhamwood Golf Course used to belong to the association.
Yeah. Now it's a unique.
And
Isn't it?
now it belongs to the city. They gave it
Okay.
to the city because
Yeah.
they got tired of maintaining it. So
Yeah,
and they
I'm
do a
finding
good job,
buyers
too.
are being. I mean, they're being more choosy. They're just taking longer to make decisions. Like this South Minneapolis house I have on the market, bunch of activity, second showings. House is great.
Where's that?
It's on 54th and Penn
Okay.
on Oliver Avenue.
Yeah.
So it's 5413 Oliver Avenue South.
Mm-hmm. Southwest.
Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
Fulton neighborhood. It's beautiful little 1.5 story. These things are $600,000. Some of them in the neighborhood $650 even. So it's priced competitively. That's why we're getting the showing traffic that we are.
A few blocks west, it'd be over $1 million.
Yeah, I
Has
mean
the
it's
Edina
right in,
address.
for the house that it is. It's
Yeah.
right in there.
Yeah.
I sold one in Edina not too far away. That was about the same price, $699 or something
Okay.
like that we had. That we got that one, but there are a lot more questions. I had a deal fall apart last week actually on a was it a duplex? It was a duplex, fourplex, duplex purchase, and I had to get a structural engineer in. I called
Okay,
you about,
yeah.
and I think we called like 6 or 8 structural engineers to try to get them out to give an opinion on the structural integrity of the foundation of this property.
Okay.
And ultimately, there's not a structural issue with it, but the cost to repair the damage that is there, because there is legitimate damage there, was just too much. It starts to push the price of the overall project out where the numbers don't make sense anymore, and it takes forever to recoup. Not forever, but you kind of back up your ROI like a year,
Yeah.
maybe, because of this improvement that you have to make now. So it just didn't make any sense anymore.
What alerted you to that problem?
Well, a lot of times with duplex or multifamily purchases, we're only able to get into one unit. I looked at a fourplex in Fridley the other day. We looked at one unit, made an offer on it, and so now we'll figure it out in inspection. And that's just kind of the name of the game there with those. If we can't see all the units, then during the inspection, we're going to have to look at all the units.
Right.
And in this case, it was the unit that we didn't see. We went into the unit that we didn't see and did our inspection, and there's cracks in the foundation, and there's some separation. So normal cracks are pretty hairline.
Right.
And some step cracking is okay.
Right.
As long as it's hairline.
Right.
But when you start seeing gaps where you can put your pinky finger in there,
Yeah, pushing in.
it's a problem.
Yeah.
And so there was a little bit of shifting in an area too.
Okay.
I mean, like quarter-inch,
Yeah.
not a lot.
Still.
So there you're like, we better
Trees on the outside where maybe
No,
we're
it's
pushing?
water.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's water. You got to manage the water around the foundation of any property, and in this case, when you walk around the building, every downspout's going right next to the foundation, and nobody decided to put those back on, and so then you got your freeze thaws and all that. Those blocks will fill up with water, and
Yep. Freeze and
they'll
crack.
pop them, and so the repair there is you got to dig out a little bit outside because the damage was up high. It's a totally in-ground basement. The damage was up high, maybe 3-4 blocks down. So
right at that freeze line.
Yep. So you have some digging that needs to be done, and then probably core filling. Maybe you get a couple of blocks out of there. Either way, the mason bid was just a little bit too rich. Not that it was overpriced bid. It cost too much to repair to make the numbers
And nothing
work.
that the seller was willing to do.
No, nothing the seller was willing to do. No, they had 3 other offers.
Oh,
I mean,
really? So someone got stuck with it.
Yeah, and some of these duplexes and fourplexes that are coming on, the numbers are good. We're still seeing some that are overpriced.
Yeah.
When we're out shopping around, like $1 million for a fourplex, it just
Doesn't work.
doesn't work at $1,200 rents.
Right. I'm looking at some with my grandson, with her,
Yeah.
your nephew, and it's just like, geez.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to go out and look and then evaluate these properties. And what I'm actually surprised at is when I go to evaluate them from like a residential real estate standpoint, I'm finding comps. There are comps in a close area which I'm happy about.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times there's not.
Right.
And so you're doing evaluations based on what the rents are and how to come up with a value that way versus the one in New Brighton that we canceled. The literal next door neighboring duplex sold within the last 6 months. So it was pretty easy.
You had a good comp there.
Had a great comp that was right next door. So if you're looking to buy or sell real estate this spring has sprung. If you notice, the trees are popping, the grasses are getting green, the sun feels a little bit warmer on your neck.
Yep.
Give us a call, 612-627-8000. That number again is 612-627-8000. And you can log on to our website, as always, hittnergroup.com, HITTNER group.com. There you can search for properties, check your home value, all online at hittnergroup.com, and we'll be right back.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. This is your Real Estate Chalk Talk with the Hittner Group, hittnergroup.com, HITTNER group.com, 612-627-8000. We got Joe Werner in the studio with us. Excited about this conversation. I can tell from your jacket you work for Warner Stellian.
Here I am.
Here you are in live and in person.
Good to see you guys.
Nice to see you. So last time we spoke, you don't remember this, but you were there was two things that were going on. One of them, you were expanding into other cities. That's number one. So I'm just curious about how that's
Des Moines area, is that right?
Was it Des Moines or Kansas City?
Kansas City.
There you go.
We've been in Des Moines for a few years. There's that steel trap.
Yep. Kansas City. So you were just in the process of getting that online. So how is that opening going? And are you adding more stores down there? Do you have one facility, or what's going on in Kansas City?
Yeah, so let's see. We did a couple grand openings, I think late 2024 and then mid 2025. We are in Leawood, Kansas.
Okay.
And what's called Northland, Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
So we have our two stores, Leawood and Northland.
So Leawood is a suburb of Kansas City?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. It's an interesting city how I never knew this, but it's split between two states, and there's legitimate Kansas City residents in Kansas, right? So
and Kansas City, Missouri has just a little different flavor to it.
It for sure does. It's kind of like St. Paul, Minneapolis, where you're from one or the other, and sometimes seems like there's a difficulty crossing that river.
Yep.
They've kind of got that going on in the Kansas City market a little bit. Leawood is it's going really, really, really well out there. The Northland, I know, is a little bit slower to kind of get that traction. This is normal.
Leawood is kind of like an more upper bracket, more
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. It I wouldn't try to compare it to say Edina, but I do know that they move a lot of high end.
Yeah, it's got that flavor to it.
Yeah, it's going really well. My team is connected to the Kansas City market because my team here in Northeast Minneapolis does online sales.
Right.
So we're learning and getting to interact with those customers via that channel as well.
What do you do about distribution then, just from a business standpoint? Because you've got warehouses here, you're servicing this area well. What do you do there when you're going into a new market? At what point do you say, we need a warehouse down here?
Really early.
Yeah.
We figure something out really early. At first, what we did is, we've been open in the Des Moines area for 6, 7, 8 years. We had a small warehouse, call it almost like a transfer station, and then eventually we opened up our warehouse that's there, and we pay rent there.
Okay.
When we opened up in Kansas City, we used the Des Moines area as kind of like a halfway point. So we would send a truck down, and we were moving between those markets. Now we are about a week away from opening our main warehouse in Kansas City.
Good.
We piece it together, try to keep the expenses from being just nuts and unpredictable, because there's lots of things happening that we just can't predict out there. What's the business going to be like? How's the brand going to be received? From a distribution standpoint, the reception of the brand, I think, it's one of the most tricky things, because here in the Twin Cities, we hear it time and time again that one of our uniques, one of the things that separates us is the professionalism and skill of our fulfillment crews, of our delivery crews, of our install crews. Now, how do we go to another market? We can't bring these people down there,
Yes.
right? We can't bring all of them. So, ideally we get a couple anchors that can go down there that are really, really good people, that are skilled people that can take other skilled workers, but that aren't connected to our brand yet, and they can kind of take them under their wing.
So is that similar then to a lot of your franchises, especially with bigger restaurants, opening crews, that they'll go in and they're going to be in that market while that store opens to train up people, but they're not permanent there.
We've got permanent residents that have moved from the Twin Cities market to the West Des Moines market. That was our first experience with that. You get a moving stipend, and then they just relocate and they become happy in those places, and it worked out great. We did it again in Kansas City. Our Northland manager is someone that I had the pleasure of working with at the Northeast Minneapolis location. She worked with me. She was phenomenal. She came from our delivery department. She was a delivery person. It was amazing. She was very good. She was also very good at sales, very good at working with the customers. Well, she's able to elevate herself, and she's the manager at the Northland store. I'm very proud of her. You get that type of a culture injection, if you will, and it's important. It's really important. And fortunately, the Kansas City market has been receptive to our brand, and that's always an unknown. It's a big deal.
Yeah. What about service and warranty? I mean, that's one of the things that sets you apart, is the service and warranty work. Is that done by your own in-house people? Is that factory people that come in, and how do you manage that?
It's really a mix of both, and it's a delicate balance. We have a product that we offer to our customers where they would get exclusive access to our repair department. The call center, I think, is, even though if you're in the Leawood market, Kansas City market, you're calling St. Paul, but there isn't a language barrier. There isn't a lack of care for that customer. Whereas, if you're calling 1-800 multi-billion-dollar vendor, sometimes that can be very difficult, very disconnected process. So,
plus, because you can hear that you're talking with on an online, thing.
Click, 7 clicks. Now we're connected.
And now we're connected to Hajib Habib in
how can we help
West India.
I mean, and they can be on, but even if you get a great one and then there's that language barrier, I'm asking people to repeat.
Yeah,
it's a thing. So you can buy that product from us in Kansas City. We also sent down repair people to do the same kind of culture injection, train people up to how we do things, and
then leave them down there, or is it a temporary deal?
They live. Some is temporary. My supervisor, my boss, will go down or wherever, he will go and open up stores in whatever market. He's temporary. He comes back and he's headquartered in St. Paul. But I would say there was a good 10 people between those two stores and the warehouse that went down there, and it's a big part of how we expand.
Nice.
So another thing
that
flexibility.
We're getting to know what we're getting to know.
Exactly.
It's new to us still, but it's working out.
So then you develop kind of a battle plan, if you will. This is how we go into this market, and we launch a few torpedoes in there, soften it up a little bit, and drop some bombs, and then boom, there you are.
We're getting to know it. The first expansion that we did was to Rochester, where it was kind of the out of the Twin Cities metro area, it was the first.
But the name was still probably known.
It was, and that's a good point, Keith. As in Kansas City, they don't know us. The
totally new,
totally unknown. And the big competitor that they've got that we have out there is Nebraska Furniture Mart. That's a big company. It's a big corporation. So we bring something a little bit different, and something that clearly that market was yearning for, because they've
specialty.
They've specialty, appliances, person to person, a little bit more of a personal experience, expert field people. It was something that market didn't have, and they have embraced it, fortunately. You know what is big out there is what they're doing particularly well at is working with the trades. We got a very good local person down there. I mean, she's very, very good, and working with the trades. There's a lot
into new construction,
remodel.
Nice.
There's just a lot of that going on in that market, clearly, because that is the driving force right now for that market.
Every house that's built is
Yeah.
going to have a oven and refrigerator.
How long has Warner Stellian been around the Twin Cities?
As Stellian in the 50s, and then as Warner Stellian starting in 1971 when my grandpa bought it and put our name on it.
Okay, so when you're, since 1971, you're in the Twin Cities market, long-standing brand. When does the decision get made? Let's start expanding at this point, because you've been in the Twin Cities forever.
Mm-hmm.
Is it when a new CEO comes in? Is it when, now you got kind of a fresh look on things? If you're not growing, you're dying, that type of thing.
Yeah, honestly, we started out as one store, right? That 50s, that 1971, all the way up until 1986. That's when we expanded for the first time ever to South Minneapolis, right over by the 54th and Penn House that you were talking about. We were right there. And at the time, what it was is basically the same as what I think it is now. At the time, what it was, Grandpa had 9 kids, and that's why he bought the business in the first place. He couldn't support his family working for someone else. He needed to own it. The expansion was the same. Like, look at all these grandkids we're having. This is a family business. This is a legacy.
Yeah.
Expansion kind of became
necessity.
Really,
Important.
Broaden it out. It's the same thing in the new market. Expansion is important for us to continue to have growth for the family.
Always a good conversation with you. We're going to come back and have more of that when we return. This is Real Estate Chalk Talk. Log on to our website at hittnergroup.com, and we'll be right back.
Hey, welcome back to the program. This is your Real Estate Chalk Talk. Thanks for sticking around. Hittnergroup.com, Hittner Group.com, 612-627-8000. Again, we're in the studio with Joe Warner, and we're talking about Warner Stellian and their growth and the services that they provide to the Twin City area when it comes to appliances, all kinds. Whether new construction, remodel, or just kind of, you're replacing the stuff that's in your home, either one will do. Last time you were here, we also were talking about that you were just opening up the new Northeast Minneapolis facility, and you were moving a product from Bloomington, I believe it was, which is like a legacy store. It's been around forever. Moving product from there, which used to be like the scratch and dent store.
That's right, yeah.
Up to Northeast. So has that been completed now, or what's going on with that?
Sure. Yeah, that's complete. That was the South Minneapolis store that I was previously mentioning, was our outlet for quite a few years. But the parking was tough there, and there were some challenges at that location. We moved all that operation over to my store in Northeast Minneapolis, and it's been really, really good. It's clearly ours is an ideal location for doing that. We're connected to a warehouse. Sometimes we hardly have to move product anywhere. Just, they got dropped off because it got returned, and we move it to the store that's just on the other side of the building.
Okay.
Works out really great.
That's good. All right, now, my questions. What about, I'm curious about, because I love appliances. I'm just full disclosure here. I'm just a appliance whore. So I love appliances, and I like the different brands of appliances. You know what I mean? And is there? But now it seems like they're all owned by one company.
Yeah.
They're all made by one company, and some of the brands are more like the same thing with a different sticker on the front of it. That used to be Hot Point, and now it's something else.
Right.
Is that the case, or what's the differentiation between the brands?
It is the case. Certainly more so today than it was when I started in sales at Warner Stellian. That's continued to happen. It's not a bad thing as long as there are some specialty brands that aren't that way. I mean, it's a lot like, what is it, Toyota and Lexus?
Yeah. Well, what's the difference between a Buick and a
homogenous
Chevy?
The car people could tell you this.
Yeah.
They'd be able to tell that story of how they're going to get another 10 or 15 grand out of your pocket.
Yeah.
GMCs and Chevys and
Yeah.
That's
Acuras and
there's for sure a story
also
there
another
about
one.
what's the value proposition here, moving from this lower tiered brand to this more mass premium type of brand, and that's usually the feel.
Mass premium.
Mass premium, yeah, it's like your KitchenAid. It's really nice stuff. But it's not your uber high end like
Right.
Sub-Zero.
So you got some nicer handles, and you have some little trim package on there.
Nicer lighting.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
that's
quieter dishwashers. Sometimes a little bit more meaningful to the customer than nicer lighting, different handle.
Talk about the brands then, if you could, for customers listening, because a lot of folks maybe don't know, or if they're curious, what brands are the same?
Well,
Like Kenmore, Whirlpool, whatever.
Sure, Whirlpool Corporation owns 5 brands that we deal with, and just kind of running down the line. Jenner at the top, KitchenAid, Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana. Those are all Whirlpool brand. One of my favorite of this type is BSH brand. BSH is Bosch, Thermador, Gagano. Really nice stuff on all levels of that brand, but it's your Thermador Gagano, very high end and premium. Wolf Sub-Zero, this is all high end. Wolf Sub-Zero Cove dishwashers they started making about 10 years ago. All very nice.
So one of the things that I was thinking about when I wanted to ask, some brands like Sub-Zero, you mentioned Sub-Zero. Okay, they started making refrigerators. Everybody knew if you had a Sub-Zero refrigerator, that was a forever refrigerator. That thing was that was a tank.
Yeah.
And it looked good. The hinges were good. The shelving was good. The mechanics were good. And now you got Sub-Zero, everything else, right? I mean, you get.
Well, the way that they accomplished that was through their other brands.
Okay.
This is a lot of the reason why, why does Whirlpool umbrella over 5 brands?
Uh-huh.
Well, it's a lot the same. Sub-Zero was synonymous with built-in refrigerators,
Right.
like Kleenex, our tissues.
Right.
Sub-Zero were built-ins. But they didn't have the cooking aspect of a high-end kitchen, so they bought a commercial brand, Wolf. They were only commercial, they were not residential. And they introduced their residential line, and it was a huge hit.
Right.
Very, very big for them. And then recently were able to fold in their own design, their own production, Cove dishwashers that are made right there in Madison, Wisconsin. Very, very nice stuff. Years ago, Maytag owned Amana, and that is why Whirlpool bought that brand. Maytag was for the Amana, Iowa plant of those bottom. It was a huge reason why those bottom freezer refrigerators were. They were the big ticket, I believe, and it happens all the time.
So you have these people that make specialty items, and now they want to expand the line, so they just buy another company, and they keep the name, which is smart.
In some cases,
In some cases. So what is the difference then between like Wolf, the commercial line, and you said now they made a consumer line? What's the difference in the product itself?
Well, you would see that in a restaurant or in a church basement, and there's an insulation difference between a commercial range and a residential range. There are differences in how they need to be built. What regulations they need to uphold. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So commercial was, I don't want to say it's looser, because I don't know enough about commercial product to really speak at the same level that I can residential, but they're not the same. A little bit shorter are commercial ranges because the countertop height is always ADA.
Uh-huh.
But it had this look where it had a wolf emblem on it. It had the signature red knobs. Right. So that was super sexy. They thought, and they brought it in, and like I said, huge hit. Initially,
So what I'm hearing from you is that the residential line is actually built to a higher standard.
100%.
Which confuses me, because I'm thinking a commercial line like a restaurant, nothing gets abused more than a range in a restaurant. So that thing has got to be built to last, because it's used every day, all day. That thing it's hot, basically, 15 hours a day. it must be built. I'm thinking it's got to be built better. But what I'm hearing you say is not necessarily.
Well, different. You know, they have to put different care into the residential appliances because they're always going to be between combustible cabinets and things like that, whereas it's just a difference. So I don't know if I would say more robust, but certainly different. You know, now you see lots of that. And in fact, Viking had it at the time. Viking's another one of those big high-end brands. They already had commercial quality ranges in a residential home. And so what people were doing is buying a Sub-Zero fridge and a Viking range.
Yeah.
And so Wolf just Sub-Zero came in with Wolf to take that share, and they've done a great job at it.
And is Viking just Viking? They don't have like side brands or owned by anybody?
Well, they're owned by Middleby, and that's happened during my... Middleby's a huge company.
Yeah.
Okay.
That has happened during my time with Viking. Boy, I forget the history of their company, but they're Greenwood, Mississippi, I believe, and they were privately owned for all those years, and then Middleby came in and bought them, and they've done fine with the brands.
Yeah.
And Middleby we have both brands at the restaurant. We have Viking for the ranges, and Middleby, and we had Middleby for the stacking ovens, the double doors and stuff.
Yeah.
Very good. I mean, they work very good, but I'd like to have those in my house. I want to talk about these little air fryers.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's like I think all it is like a small oven with a fan on it.
Yes.
So what in the home application then would you have that would be comparable to an air fryer, but it's more like a household, not a desktop or a countertop?
They have it now.
Okay.
So you can buy a really affordable range under $1,000 that has the air fry technology in it. Previously, there was convection, and it's a fan. It's a fan, right?
Yeah.
So air fry is just it's sort of taking that to the next level,
Okay.
and it's certainly
Gets hotter, faster,
more even, faster, and it's very popular right now.
Yeah.
We are getting some foods from the grocery store that say in the air fry, right? So people are being conditioned to using it, asking for
that
it.
terminology and using it that way. I've never used an air fryer before.
I mean, and you're not alone.
Yeah.
I have one, just a countertop one, but you can get them built into your ovens now, and people are asking for it.
So I got a big hole in my wall where I've had this little cheap
Microwave?
Not even it was a microwave, but I didn't want a microwave.
got a toaster oven.
I got a toaster oven in there, and I want to replace it with a built-in air fryer.
There you go. Call Warner Stellian. Where can they call you?
Give us a call at my outlet store, 612-540-5444, or you can also call our corporate touch base with sales, 651-222-0011, or warnersstellian.com.
Thanks so much. We're going to head out to break. Hittnergroup.com.